Good afternoon, depending on where you're joining us from in the world. My name's Paul Scott. I'm the ISHOW lead for ASME based in New York. We have my colleague James Creel on the line, who is also involved in the ISHOW based in Washington, D.C. You'll be seeing both of us in Nairobi next Wednesday. We're super excited to meet you. The third year we've run the Innovation Showcase in Nairobi, Kenya, and we always really impressed and excited with the level of applications that we get for the process and the quality of the finalists. So, really excited to meet you in person, and just wanted to say, a big congratulations for making it this far. Globally, we have over 200 applications for this. The quality of applicants has gone up year on year, and so just getting to the final within itself is an achievement, so be very proud of yourself. But just also know that the hard work starts now in terms of the process and in terms of the opportunities that you will get by being involved in the ISHOW process. So what we would like to do today is just to give you an overview of what your experience will look like, so you can prepare appropriately and you can provide to us some of the necessary information we need to be able to make a decision and to be able to choose 3 winners of the ISHOW, but also to make sure that you get the best out of your experience. We invest a lot in getting the right people in the room with you during the ISHOW process, and whether you win or not, the connections and the people that you meet will likely be able to
mute on
either access to other capital, access to advice or connections, or specific advice from themselves that will likely make your very hard challenge of taking a physical product to market just a little bit easier. So just a couple of house rules for the call. If you're not speaking, if you could put your microphone onto mute, and also James can do that from our side. So maybe James, if you could do that from our side to get everyone's microphone on mute so we don't have any background noise. There will be plenty of opportunity to ask questions at different points during the process, and please feel free to ask questions. There's also a chat button in the top right-hand corner of the portal, of the WebEx portal. Please feel free to chat on there at any point in time. If you send it to the admin, it will just go to James, who will. So if it's a tech issue or if it's a kind of a private question, please feel free just to email James or through that chat function, or chat James through that chat function. If you think it's a question that's relevant to everyone, please feel free to use the all participants, and then all the participants on the call will see that question. With these things, it's new to everyone. There's no dumb questions. So please, often, you're doing everyone a favor by asking a question, because no doubt most people will be thinking the same thing as well. So it's good to get everyone to have access to the right answer. So, as I say, my name's Paul Scott. I've been at ASME for a little over 3 years now, and we've been doing the ISHOW in Kenya, in India, and in the US for this is the 3rd time we've done it. Why we're doing it, we're really interested in hardware innovators. The ASME is the American Society of Mechanical Engineers. We have a network of 150,000 engineers around the world. We came to this space basically out of need. We observed that there wasn't enough support for people taking physical products to market to have a social or environmental impact. So we wanted to play, and we wanted to provide some of that support. You know better than we do, but as a hardware startup, you've got a number of different challenges that you need to overcome. Taking products to market is much more complex, it's much more expensive, it requires a much more kind of diverse team with a very in-demand skill set if you're an engineer. So you really try to do something which is very difficult, and so we just want to make that just a little bit easier through the process that we go through. As I say, through the process, there's 10 finalists that will be with you in Nairobi. We'll choose 3 of them to get at least a $10,000 grant. We do grants up to $50,000 depending on need, but it will be at least a $10,000 grant. You also get access to design and engineering review through the process, all finalists, which helps us understand where you are in your journey and what are the things that you can improve on and what are the things that you're doing well. Winners also get design services, 20 hours of design services initially, and again that can be increased depending on need, from Catapult Design, which is a human-centered design firm that are very well known in the social and environmental impact circles. And then lastly, we invite you to New York for an event that we have in October where we showcase all the winners from around the world to our investor community in New York. So as I say, congratulations on making it this far. What we're trying to do is just to make you have the best experience possible and get the most out of your experience with ISHOW. So let me take you through some of the basics, your fellow finalists, the program overview, some of the judges and advisors that we'll have there, and then a little bit about the actual ASME process. So what are we doing, how are we doing it, and what should you expect? So, you know, we've got a nice group of innovators this time from different sectors. So we have, you can see on the screen, and this is on the website also, and there's a little bit more information on the website who your fellow competitors are. You know, what's really nice about the process that we put together is often you guys aren't really competing against each other. You're competing against other markets that are perhaps un-hardware solutions. So we encourage you to learn and share with each other, because I think it's very unlikely that you'll actually be trying to compete in a market together against each other. We have a nice breadth of water and sanitation, healthcare, agriculture, and food, different sectors and different solutions. So, you know, we're really excited to have such a mix of organizations coming along. So just let me take you through what the schedule looks like. And, you know, day one, we start at 3:30, and just be aware we do try and, because there's a big group of us, we try to make sure everything keeps to time. So please be aware through all of these times that you arrive ready at the time noted. And are ready to participate. We don't want to waste other people's time by having to delay sessions because the whole group isn't there. So please be respectful of everyone who's going through the process and show up to things on time. And we know the Nairobi traffic's super bad. So please build that in if you're traveling to the location and you're not staying at the hotel. So on the first day, really, we're just trying to get you everyone here safely to the Golden Tulip in Nairobi. Get everyone to know each other. We'll do some light introductions, and then we'll have we'll have a couple of sessions that just gives you a little bit more orientation and gives you the ability to ask more questions, and so you feel comfortable with what we're expecting from you and what the process will be. And then so that's the 3:30 start, and then we'll have a welcome dinner at 7 o'clock, and that will be with the team, fellow innovators, but also some invited guests that we have. That some of them will be judges, some of them will be advisors, but people from the Nairobi area that we feel might be able to help you. So on day one, it's just about getting there, making you feel comfortable. On day two is really where the heavy lift is from your side, and where most of the activity takes place for the Innovation Showcase. So we ask you to start the day by doing a 5-minute pitch presentation, and James has passed out the format that we provided for that, and that starts at 8:30 and goes till about 10:30 usually, depending on how we keep to time. So that's an opportunity for everyone. There'll be the judges there, there'll be the reviewers there, there'll be the ASME core team there. It's an opportunity, and your fellow finalists. So it's an opportunity for you and for everyone in the room to understand what you're doing and how you're doing it. The format that we've provided for you is a very simple and standard format. So we appreciate that if you keep to that format with the 9 slides and focus on the different areas that you have within those 9 slides, it's the best way that we can all get the best understanding of what you're doing, how you're doing it, and why you're doing it. So that's a 5-minute pitch presentation, and each of the finalists will have the opportunity to do that. Just to let you know, we do film that process, and the reason we film that is so we can provide you, but through the end of the process, an individual video, which is usually between 30 or 60 seconds long, which gives a synopsis of what you're doing, why you're doing it, and how you're doing it. It's very high quality video that we provide to you, and we hope that you'll be able to use that in your networking and your marketing efforts moving forward. So that's one of the things that we film through that process. So that's the first element of the day, and that gives everyone an opportunity to understand the situation of your startup. So the second element of the day is what we call competition roundtables, and that is takes place concurrently. So all the organizations, the companies, are doing various different things, and it gives us an understanding, the judges and the reviewers and the experts, of where you are at different in terms of different aspects of your hardware startup. So what is important to know on this is that it's the design and engineering review framework that we use. So if you look at the inventor's guide on the website, and we've sent information around this before, and I'm sure you looked at this when you actually applied, but we see the world of a hardware startup broadly broken up into 4 different areas. 1, customer and user knowledge. 2, technical validation and development. 3, manufacturing optimization. And 4, implementation strategy. So that's the framework that we use for the competition roundtables, and you'll spend between 20 and 30 minutes on each of those elements with a group of experts, and we'll make sure that you speak to groups of experts that know about that particular area, and that so at the end of the day, every expert has the opportunity to understand each company from a customer perspective, from a hardware validation perspective, from a manufacturing optimization perspective, and a implementation strategy perspective. And that's based on that and the pitch presentation, our interaction with you during the day, and your prototype. That's how we'll make our assessment of which organization will provide funding and support to. Just to say, so if you haven't looked at the inventor's guide on the website, and you want to be successful through this endeavor, it's probably sensible to go and take a look at it at thisishardware.org. And under the inventor's guide, there's various different questions, and they're an indication of the types of things that the experts will be interested in and the types of things that you should be thinking about. Now, you're not going to be able to answer all the questions, and for us, it's as insightful to understand how you're dealing with the things that you don't know as it is for us to understand the things that you're doing. So be open and honest as you go and look at those questions, and think about the ones which you can answer, which you're going to struggle to answer, or ones which you've never really thought about. But if you look through those before the day, that will give you the best preparation you can have for those competition roundtables. And then the last element of the day is a networking reception that we host. And we host it at the Golden Tulip. We invite people from the Nairobi area that are in industry, that are investors, and the idea is that we give you guys opportunities to network with people who are influential in this space, and also we want to present hardware as a cohort for investors. So often at these kind of competitions or incubators, the cohort is based on sector, or it's based on a particular area. What we want to do is make sure that investors are aware of the opportunities that exist within the hardware space, and the fact that you guys are making really good progress But it's just much harder to do and to take physical products to market, and they need to be aware of that, and they need to have the patience and the investment to back that up. So from an individual perspective, you'll get to meet some people that will be interested in what you're doing and maybe can make some good connections from an industry perspective, a market perspective, an advice perspective, and a finance perspective. And then collectively, I think you all win because it's a recognition by the community that hardware is different and special. So day 2 is basically the heavy lift of the activities. So just to repeat, you have a pitch in the morning, you have the competition roundtables in the afternoon, and then you have the reception in the evening. And then on the last day, day 3, we meet at 9 a.m. and this is, something that if you have travel schedules that conflict with this, it's possible not to participate in this if you can't. But we have a farewell breakfast, and that gives us an opportunity to download things that you've learned, to download and to give you feedback, and then to also to think through with you, with the experts that we have on site, any next steps and any kind of things that are top of mind for you in terms of how you can continue to be successful in your hardware journey. So that's the 3 days. As I say, the bulk of the activity is on day 2, but we do want to make sure that we do 2 things on day 1 and day 3. So the first thing is that you get there, you meet people, and you feel comfortable. It's a community. It's a small community of people that are working in hardware, so you can learn a lot from each other, and it's great to have the network of other people that are doing something similar. So that's really day 1 and why that's important. Day 3, it's really important for you guys to think about what are the simple steps that you can take to be successful. You all have 1,000 things that you should be doing, but really focusing on the key 3 or the key 5 things that you can achieve over the next, week, month, 3 months, 6 months. Really is what differentiates people who are from successful with startups to people who aren't. So day 3 gives you an opportunity to reflect on the process and to reflect on your next steps. And we feel that that's a really important thing for you to be able to do. So with that, I'm just going to take a little bit of a moment. James, I don't know if there's any questions come in to you directly, or if there's any questions at this
mute off
group. I believe you can also raise your hand through the system. So if you would like to ask a question, please do so now.
I can see that people can manage it on their phone.
James, anything from the chat?
Yeah, no, not receiving anything from the chat.
So just as a reminder, I'll move on, but just as a reminder, if you have any questions, please use the chat function in the top right-hand corner of the portal.
Mute on.
Okay, so who are these people that you'll be coming into contact with?
Actually, Paul, there was one question about elaborating on the roundtable a bit more.
Yeah, of course. So the roundtable, and you'll get a detailed schedule when you arrive on Wednesday. But the roundtable, you will have an opportunity to sit down with experts within each of those 4 areas. So the inventor's guide, and we call it a design and engineering review taxonomy, and you will have between 20 and 30 minutes with experts in that space. So you will sit down, there'll be 2 or 3 experts there, and they will speak to you about customer or user understanding. And we've got, in that particular area, Heather Fleming, who's the CEO of Catapult Design. They'll be leading those discussions. And she is a human-centered design expert and works a lot in Nairobi and East Africa and globally with understanding customer and user needs. So if you look at the website and you see the questions for the customer user understanding element, which is under the inventor's guide, it'll give you a guidance of some of the things that they will be interested in. So it will be a facilitated discussion for up to 30 minutes with a number of experts, as I say, 2 or 3 experts. And basically what they want to do is to really understand and drill down into your organization and to see where you are on your journey into understanding your customer and user needs. So, how have you interacted with them? Have you had has your prototype been in their hand? What have they said to you? What research have you done? Is there a price point for what you're doing, and has it been validated? So they will use that time to just really drill down and understand your kind of situation in terms of customer and user understanding. I think it's important to say that there's no right or wrong answer. Okay, no one has all the right answers at this stage. Everyone's learning as they're going, and from a startup perspective and from an advice perspective, it's actually sometimes some of the things that you don't know, but have a strategy to deal with, or some of the things that you're really worried about, but you're not really sure how to fix. Just the awareness of that tells us as much as if you know the answers to all the questions. So if you look at the questions in the different areas, so just to reiterate, customer and user understanding, technical validation and development, manufacturing optimization, and implementation strategy, you will spend 30 minutes, up to 30 minutes, with a team of experts on each of those areas. So you might do customer first, or you might do implementation strategy first, depending on the rotation. But that's an opportunity for 2 things. It's an opportunity for us to get to understand what you're doing in that space and how you're doing it. So technical validation, for example. What has your testing strategy been? What stage of development are you at? And perhaps what's your standards regime that you're thinking about? And as I say, there's more questions in the taxonomy on the website. But it gives you an opportunity to sit down for 30 minutes with an expert who knows exactly what they're doing in relation to that area. So use it as an opportunity to learn from them and to ask questions and to help them guide you in terms of what they think from their experience is really important. So you'll have people at the table that have taken, hundreds of products to market. And so they will have an opinion on what's important and what's not important. And be sure to ask questions. So if you have things in those particular areas that you need to answer through that section, please feel free to do that. Say, I'm struggling in this area. I'm really, we understand that this is a challenge, but we don't know how to fix it. This is a question that I've never really even thought about. I don't have an answer to it. Can you give me some guidance on some of the things we could do? So that's the first reason we do that. It's an opportunity for you to sit down with experts and gain their advice. The second thing is it gives us a really good feeling for where you are and what you're trying to do. So most competitions, a lot of it's just on the pitch, that you do a pitch and then people make a decision, maybe after some question and answer. Here, because we're hardware, because we're engineers and designers, we really want to drill down into things more significantly, because we know that sometimes people who are working with, who are taking physical products to market maybe aren't the best presenters and maybe don't communicate as effectively as they could. But what we're looking for is not slick MBA educated presenters. What we're looking for is people who can take physical products to market to solve social environmental problems, and that's why our kind of process of assessment and engagement is a little deeper than maybe what you've had in the past. But as I say, look at the website, look at those questions, think about the ones that you can answer well, and think about the ones that you really are struggling with, and be honest about it, and use that experience as a learning opportunity to get advice from experts who know what they're doing. Any more questions, James?
No, but just Paul, just to add on to what you said, another element of the Thursday schedule in between your round robin interviews will be shuttling all of your teams to our media room for interviews with our media crew. We use those video interviews to get information on your product and company, and how ISHOW can help you along your hardware journey. And from the email that we sent you, you can see examples from previous finalists on our YouTube channel. That's that you can kind of use as a reference, and that's something, this video will be something, it'll be yours to keep and to kind of promote what you're doing. But we do ask in preparation for those media interviews that you bring any, media assets, photos, or anything that you would want to include in that video. You'll notice some of the teams in the past didn't bring those assets, so the video ended up only being kind of a face-to-face interview, and that was it. So without the B-roll type pictures running through your video, it won't have as much visual impact. So please be sure you bring pictures of your team, pictures and videos of the prototyping process that you may have recorded, videos or pictures of your field tests, so we can kind of mix them into the final ISHOW video interview that will be yours to keep. So those media assets that you bring on site on a stick will kind of bring some visual aesthetics to your video. So please keep that in mind.
Yeah, and just to say on that, the reason we do that is it's because it's so important for you to be able to succinctly communicate what you guys are doing, and often, on the bottom of an email or to give an introduction to people, a video is very useful to do that. So we've built a process where we take footage of the pictures, we do a one-on-one interview with you, and then we also take footage of you interacting through the networking reception. We look at your prototype, and using all of those bits of media along with what you provide us, we can put a really good kind of synopsis of what you're doing that's very high quality that you can share with the outside world. So as James suggested, go and have a look at some of the other examples, and a really good example of how we've used people's existing media materials to really good effect. There's a video for Amparo, which was a winner in last year in the US, and there's elements of their video which is that they provided that they took on cell phones while they were doing the prototyping process, and it really fits very nicely into being able to tell the story about what they're doing. So have a look at those videos, and that gives you a little bit of an example of what all finalists will get out of the process. And as I say, one of the things that we're trying to do is build awareness of hardware innovators as a cohort. So these videos are great for us because it gives us an opportunity to give an example of the types of companies that are taking physical products to market, and we feel that the feedback has been that they've been very useful to companies as well, as they've been able to explain to investors or to contacts, this is what we're doing. So as James said, this video is yours to keep. We'll give you the file. You can use it in any way that you wish, and that's one of the benefits of being an ISHOW finalist. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about some of the judges that we're going to have there, and some of the people that we've had there in the past. So you can see me in the top left-hand corner, grinning away. If you need a visual to put with my voice, the other people, what we try and do with this process is to have a mix of people who have worked globally and people who have worked locally. And we also trying to have a mix of people who are technologically savvy, engineers, industrial designers, software engineers, as well as people who are business savvy. So what you're trying to do, you can't sit in a cubicle all day and just design things and just run models. If and maybe you love doing that because you're an engineer, but that's not going to get your physical product to market at scale. And in the same way, business in a hardware startup, being business savvy isn't going to get it there either. So you need a variety of skills to be able to be successful. And so we try and bring a variety of skills to give advice to you. So let's just pick a few. I mentioned Heather Fleming already. She's basically a globally renowned industrial designer. She's also a mechanical engineer, and she has great experience of delivering products for markets to have a social environmental impact, and also a very interesting kind of price point in the sense that it's sometimes she's delivering products to markets where you're having to create demand as well. There's not a demand that's already there because there's not the ability to pay. So it'd be very relevant experience to some of the work that you guys are doing. So that's Heather Fleming. Just to talk about Kamal Gashidi, who is the Executive Director of Gearbox in Nairobi. Gearbox in Nairobi is our partner for this event. They're a maker space that has been growing for the last 2 years. Kamau is ex-University of Nairobi. He ran the Fab Lab there. He knows everything that you need to know about making, about actually creating products, about getting the manufacturing down, about making sure that you can build up the local supply chains. So has amazing knowledge of the process, but also amazing knowledge of the local environment. Another person that will be there, so Anand Narayan, he was the founder of Celco Labs in India, which was an off-grid energy company, and so he's also an investor. He has worked with a lot of startups. So you see we're trying to bring together, he's a chemical engineer by training, but has been an entrepreneur himself. We're trying to bring together a group of people that have got global experience, so Heather's in the US, Anand's in India, Kamau's in Kenya, and local experience and regional experience that can actually give you the advice that you need from a technical perspective and from a business perspective to get your products to market. So you can see the rest of the judges and advisors that we have. Juliana Rodic was, I don't know, our Kenyan competitors may well be aware of the work that she's been doing with Ushahidi. She'll probably be participating in some way, but she's a very busy lady, so you probably just see her in the evening at the reception. But she was a judge last year, and obviously someone who's very prominent in the space. And this is the type of people that we can get in the same room as you guys, because we've got you all together, and because people are really interested in physical products solving social and environmental problems. So I mean, I've spoke through this to a certain extent, and you can read it yourself, but this is really what we're trying to do is provide value to everyone. Whether you win or not, you will get value out of your time in Nairobi. And actually some of the winners have basically said, the money's great. As a startup, the money's always good and the advice is good, but actually the people that we met through the process, our peers, what we learned from the experts through the process as a finalist, and then some of the connections we got at the reception from a media point of view, and then also from an investor point of view, were better than the actual money itself or the advice itself. So be aware that just by being there, you're going to get access to a great opportunity. We'll try to do 3 things through the process. We'll try to give you insights from experts. We'll try to give you the opportunity to have some coaching from experts, and we'll try to give you the opportunity to network with people. So you should expect those 3 things through the process. So as I say, I went through this a little bit earlier, but as a group, you get to meet fellow innovators, which is very important for your network, and you get to interact with experts. You also get to have this opportunity to network with industry and investors at the network and reception. And just on that, I know it's not possible for everyone, but if you have a physical prototype and you can bring it, please make sure you bring it, because at various stages through the process, you'll have the opportunity to show people your prototype and to demo it. And it's a really exciting kind of opportunity that a lot of companies don't get, because if you actually give something to hold, and they can feel it and they can touch it and they can see it, it's a really great way of interacting with people and breaking the ice. So if you can at all bring your prototype, please bring it. At the networking reception, we'll set up tables. Each team will have a table, and we'll have some, we have your design your 3D sketch design printed out so people can situate and understand what you're doing and who you are and what your name is and what you're looking to work on, and then they can come over to you and introduce themselves. So if you do have a physical prototype and you can bring it, make sure you do. So what does each individual team, what are the expectations? And just to go over this once again so we're all on the same page. You give a 5-minute presentation on your business. You participate in these competitions roundtables, which we talked about, and then we focus a lot through the process on your 1-minute elevator pitch. So, as you introduce yourself to people at the networking reception, as you introduce yourself to the rest of the group, you need to have that down. You'll have the opportunity through our process to do that maybe 5 times, and what we ask you to do is, so everyone at the networking reception knows who you are and what you're doing, we ask you to do a 1-minute elevator pitch at the networking reception as well. So they're the expectations from our side. So in case you haven't seen this is the presentation structure that we ask you to keep to do your 5-minute pitch. So it's 9 slides, and it asks questions in a way that most investors ask questions. And it gives us the opportunity to get all the information about your company in a very quick and efficient way. So please do your presentation in this structure. It should just be information that you already have, that you're just pulling together and putting it together. But please bear in mind a couple of things. One, it has to be 5 minutes. You won't be able to go over 5 minutes. So make sure that you practice it and you only pitch for 5 minutes, and it doesn't go over that, because we'll stop you. And secondly, just try and make it simple. Think about what are the things you want to get across. This is a synopsis of what you're doing. Use this structure and keep it simple. The presentations and the pitches are done in a very informal environment, so hopefully you feel really comfortable and nerves won't come into it. But just be aware that when you give pitches, that everyone's on your side and people are looking for you to succeed. You can help yourself succeed by practicing, and you can help yourself succeed by keeping to this format, and you can help yourself succeed by just keeping things simple. You're going to have plenty of time during the day to drill down into the detail. What testing you've done, what the performance parameters are, how you see the marketplace. Think of this as, if I was going to explain what I'm doing to my grandma or to my, 7-year-old nephew, how would I explain it? And that's a good way of thinking about a pitch, because then you can give a very simple and complete overview. Just to say, when you're giving the pitches, we take your intellectual property very seriously. So, we need to make sure that you're comfortable with not sharing things that you think are proprietary. So this element, the pitches in the morning, are a public event. So this is a public forum. We in fact actually invite select members of the press to come and to watch them, and then they may wish to interview some of you during the day. But getting that exposure is important for you, so people understand what you're trying to do. But this pitch process is public, so don't put anything in the pitch that you feel impedes on your intellectual property. Make sure that you don't go into detail of, if you've got patents, let us know, but don't go into technical detail that would put your intellectual property at risk. And this is for the pitch process because it's public, and also because it's written down. During the other competition roundtables, there's questions that, in order for the experts to get a full understanding of what you're doing, maybe you'll go into a little bit more detail than you're comfortable with. If you feel, sometimes if you feel that our experts don't sign non-disclosure agreements, so be aware of that, as most investors refuse to sign them. So, be aware of that, but also be aware that we've handpicked these experts, and they're there to help you. So that's what they're at the table trying to do. But for the pitch process, it's public.
one question popped up from the group. Are we able to have additional physical slides to show pictures or show a prototype through animation across several slides if it is in the format of 9 discrete sections that cumulatively take 5 minutes to discuss?
Yeah, so that's totally fine. Be aware that you have 5 minutes and you have to cover these areas. So, you know, if it means that you need to do, you know, sometimes a hardware product, maybe it's 5 or 6 pictures that are a slide each. That's totally fine. But don't overcomplicate it. And if you want to show a video, that's totally fine as well. Just be aware that that takes time. We need to make sure the night before that we have the video on the computer so it all runs smoothly. And, you know, we want you to answer these questions. We want you to follow this format, to provide this information to us. And we need you to do it in 5 minutes. You know, but if you have to go over 9 slides to do that and you do it within 5 minutes, we're comfortable. That's fine.
And Wednesday night, about an hour before the welcome dinner, we'll take half of you down to the media room to kind of have discussions with the media producer, and then the other half will be doing their dress rehearsals. So we'll you know, work through any technical glitches that might be going on just to make sure everything's working okay. But yeah, please keep in mind that you can't exceed the 5 minutes. We will cut you off.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about the framework. Customer. James, could you just mute everyone? We're getting a little bit of feedback on the line. Thanks. So, you know, we talked about the framework, customer user understanding, hardware validation and development, manufacturing optimization, implementation strategy. That's the way we see the world. And you know, as I say, there's a lot of information. There's questions on the website regarding that. There's also some really interesting interviews on our YouTube channel that you can have a look at that give some advice and some insights from past experts on how you can think about some of these things. As I say, these are some example questions. We talked about that already. These are all on the website. So go and have a look at these before you come. Think about the ones that you can answer. Think about the ones that you can't answer. And as I said, no one there can answer all of these questions. And if they suggest they can, they're probably lying to us. But what's more important is thinking about these questions, understanding when you need to tackle these questions, and thinking through, you know, some of the risks and opportunities for your startup at this particular point in time, in the next month, in the next 6 months, in the next year, and how these questions relate to you. So that's us done. So we have 15 minutes left. Can take a few questions. If there are no questions, we can just look forward to seeing you next Wednesday in Nairobi.
Any last questions from the group? I'm not seeing anything pop up.
So just as a reminder, the email that James sent about what you must do and what you should do, please make sure that you keep to the deadlines on there. We ask for your pitch to be provided to us before you arrive. You know, we also ask you to bring those media assets. And the other things that are on there, just be aware that the more of you know, the must-dos you have to do to be considered for the prize, and you've come this far, so make sure you do it. The second, the should-dos. You know, we're just trying to give you the best experience possible and give you exposure and access to the best advice we can. We just want to help you get to the next stage of where you are with your company. So look at the things we sent. Consider the things and the information and the advice that people have got. And if you prepare properly for this process, you'll get a lot out of it. If you don't prepare, you'll get less out of it. So, you know, what you put in, you'll get out. We know you're all extremely busy, and we know you've got a million things that you're doing, but we work very hard to get the right people in the room for you, and we're confident that the process adds value and the network that we provide adds value. So, take the preparation seriously. We're so excited to have you. We're really excited to meet you. You're going to have a great experience, and then, in the future, you'll be part of the ISHOW network for forever. So if there's no other questions, we'll close it there. We shall see you in Nairobi at 3:30 next Wednesday.
And final question. Please send the your slides to the info@thishishardware.org slide. We'll just stick with the same email addresses for clarity.
Cool.
All right.
Excellent.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone, for your time. Take care.